How many times have we met someone in a party or in life and we called that person a pessimist and thought that was a negative thing? Today, I will decode why pessimism is actually better than optimism. Philosophical pessimism is often misunderstood as having a perfectly gloomy personality, taking the negative off of everything in life, expecting the worst in every situation. In philosophy, however, pessimism is viewed as a life that we have to live in, which inherently has no value or meaning. Instead of viewing human suffering as a small part of our life, philosophical pessimism says that that is our life. Like, suffering is life. It's a default state of existence. There are many individual thinkers about philosophical pessimism. However, at its core, most philosophers believe that there are few central premises of pessimism. One, that the bad in life is much stronger than the good in our lives. We experience pain much more deeply and persistently and continuously than we experience joy. Hence, pain outweighs pleasure in our regular existence. Point number 2, the treadmill of desire. Humans are driven by this constant desire to gain things. The moment we gain it, we want the next thing, because not having it causes us suffering. When we get it, we enjoy a brief moment of satisfaction, but then we go back to our baseline, which is wanting the next thing. The point number 3 is absence of inherent meaning, that life has no purpose on its own. The universe doesn't care about human happiness. And because life guarantees suffering than joy, many pessimistic philosophers believe that we shouldn't be born in this world at all. The most extreme version of this is antinatalism in psychology, which argues that it's morally wrong to bring a new sentient into this life and subject them to suffering that they're going to experience anyways. Arthur Schopenhauer, who existed between 1700s and 1800s, was the father of philosophical pessimism. He argued that the world is driven by this concept of the will. Because we're constantly craving things that we don't have, and we don't get it, we start to suffer. He famously stated that human life moves like a pendulum. It goes back and forth from pain to boredom, and then boredom to pain again. A Romanian philosopher, Emil Chiron, believed that existence in this universe was like an exile to human beings, and our consciousness was a tragic accident. He was deeply skeptical of any philosophical or religious cures to human suffering. He believed that these were comfortable delusions. David Benatar, a philosopher, in his book Better Never to Have Been, formalized the concept of antinatalism. People who were bringing a child into this world were bringing them to a life of suffering. So while bringing a child to this world might bring them some joy, the absence of pain would have been better. Therefore, never existing is far better. Now, listening to all of this might sound very depressing to you, but there are many people who find comfort in philosophical pessimism. And it could be because they are finding this world extremely difficult to live in. They might have constant questions in their head. Why were we born in the first place? Have you ever been one of those people who has asked your parents, why did you even give birth to me? What was the point of it all? People find comfort and they find it liberating to believe in philosophical pessimism because it lowers expectations. Because if you believe the world inherently is painful and difficult, then you won't have any expectations at all. And when you get this brief moment of joy and happiness, and when you actually achieve something, you will be genuinely grateful for it. It also fosters deep empathy between human beings because you believe the other person is suffering as well. So you never treat another person badly because you know they must be suffering in their world as well, because world inherently has no meaning and it is just nothing but pain. And you believe that they're also in the same cycle of striving and then suffering. And this removes all judgment from you and it breeds a place for compassion. In some sense, pessimists are far more compassionate than optimists. Optimists, on the other hand, see the world with rose-colored glasses. They believe the moment they wake up in the morning, something good will happen. Modern society has this toxic demand from people to be positive all of the time, no matter what is going on in your life. Keep a smile on your face. This can be very exhausting to many people. And pessimism validates our pain and tells us there's nothing wrong with suffering, that this is part of life. Even in Buddhism, we hear that life is characterized by dukkha, which is pain and sadness. And Buddhists identify that craving is the root for dukkha. Fulfilling a desire just creates a new seed for the next desire. In philosophical pessimism, fulfilling a desire takes us back to the baseline, and this is called hedonic treadmill. And then that leads to having a new desire. And that moment between having the feeling of new desire and actually getting the desire is where the suffering is there. Now, what is the solution for this? Schopenhauer believed that you could only get temporary relief from this cycle by immersing yourself in art, literature, music. However, the contemporary philosopher David Benatar argues that the only solution is not existing here at all. Buddhism, however, says little differently. It says to live a life ethically with mental discipline and wisdom. The ultimate goal is not death, but nirvana, which means extinguishing all of your desires while you're alive. Now, why do I say pessimists are better than optimists? Because pain is so real and so abundant in this world that pessimists are incredibly moral and compassionate towards all creatures because they believe that everyone is suffering. Some of the best human beings are pessimists. They believe the universe doesn't have a grand purpose. It's just a fundamentally difficult place to live in. Imagine two people waking up in the morning. One wakes up expecting things to go well. They expect that the relationships will always be nice. The people are always good. Their work will always be rewarded. They view the world in a permanent golden light. The second person wakes up expecting difficulty. They anticipate problems before they even happen, and they kind of expect the worst from everyone. They are rarely surprised by life. Now, let me ask you this thing. Which of these people are living more wisely? Most of us have been trained to say the first person who wakes up and looks at the world with rose-colored glasses, that person is living more wisely. Optimism is sold to us as a virtue. We put it up on motivational posters. We celebrate it. We tell our children to dream big and to believe that they can achieve anything in this world. But today I'm going to tell you something that will make you very uncomfortable. It is that the pessimist is the one who's actually living a truthful life. Pessimism isn't a mood. It's not a disorder, a psychological disorder. It's just expectation of life. It's a position. It's a claim of human suffering being evident in life. In 2011, neuroscientist Tali Sharot published a groundbreaking research on what she called optimism bias. In that, she said that 80% of the population in this world overestimated how good their life would be, and they underestimated how bad it could go. We think we are less likely to get a disease, to have a surgery, to go through divorces, to go bankrupt, and hence we never prepare for the worst. She said that we are professionally delusioned about our own futures. Now think about how this translates to regular everyday human life. We end up staying in relationships where our partners have shown over and over that you can't trust them. But we stay in that relationship expecting different outcomes. Or the entrepreneur who ignores every warning sign that the business is failing and is still optimistic about the fact that whatever he's done will continue to succeed. Optimism bias is not harmless positivity. It is a gap between expectation and reality. And when the reality arrives, the psychological crash that human beings feel is a lot more harder for them to interpret because their expectation would have been so high. The pessimist, however, brings their expectations so low and prepares so much that when actually things happen to them, they don't have the same psychological crash that an optimist has. Psychologists believe that human beings have a baseline where they are happy. No matter what happens in our life, negative or positive, we all revert to our baseline eventually. So, for example, lottery winners, a year after winning the lottery, they go back to their baseline. They are no longer happier than they were before they won the lottery. Similarly, a person who has had a life-altering accident and surgery, a year later, they will revert to their baseline. They're no longer as stressed or as in pain as they were before. We have the ability to adapt to everything. New salary, new relationships, new jobs, new achievements. Nothing makes us happy for a long time. We always revert to our baseline, which is why people tend to get bored in relationships, which is why people tend to get bored in their jobs and they're always looking for the next best thing. Many get bored in the house they're staying in. And I've seen people move homes over and over again because they're just not happy where they stay. Once we achieve what we want, we always want the next best thing. And this is the hedonic treadmill. Think about the last promotion you got or the last best thing that you bought. How long did that happiness stay? A week, a month, a year? Then you reverted to your baseline and you were bored and then you wanted the next thing. What pessimism offers over here is not despair. It's a reality check. It offers liberation from an illusion that anything will make you happy. And once you realize that nothing will ever make you happy, that's when you become a true pessimist. Now, I'm not saying optimism is bad. Optimism has real power. It motivates people. It gets people out in the morning. It helps them take the first step in their life. It helps them try harder and bounce back from failures quicker. And apparently, optimism helps you live longer. So it's not a question about whether optimism or pessimism is better. It's whether delusions and lower expectations is better. Highly optimistic people are delusional and highly pessimistic people have zero expectations from anyone or everyone and believe the worst in people. Whereas if you balance yourself well, then you can be a philosophical pessimist along with being an optimist. Nancy Cantor, an American psychologist, believed in defensive pessimism. It is said to believe that high performers deliberately expect everything to go wrong in their life or in their careers, and they prepare in detail for every single worst outcome possible. And in retrospect, and because of that, they end up achieving great things in life. They are not paralyzed by pessimism. They are empowered by it. They don't naturally look at their business and at their ventures extremely optimistically. They actually use pessimism to succeed in their own business. Pessimism, if used wisely, is not about giving up. It's about setting realistic expectations and refusing to lie to yourself. So much of our modern life is structured around do this and you'll be happy, buy this and you'll be happy, love this person and you'll be complete, achieve this and you'll be enough. Everything is a comfortable illusion. Pessimism says none of that is true. Suffering is woven into the fabric of human civilization, and if you can accept that, then you can prepare for it. So let me ask you a question today. How many times in your life have you been extremely optimistic and have not seen the dangers that followed and were affected by it? And how many times were you a pessimist and thought nothing would work out, and hence you put all the systems in place, and then when things did not work out, you were not affected by it at all? I hope you enjoyed the decoding session for today. Please like and subscribe to watch more sessions like this in the future.